Welcome to another edition of Community Conversations. I'm Laura Wagoner, your host. In my community affairs role at Villanova University, I've met many exceptional people doing great work, from university professors and leaders of service organizations to law enforcement officials and township commissioners. The goal of this program is to provide you, the viewers, a monthly glimpse of the people making headlines at Villanova and across the township. Today I'll introduce you to one of those people that plays an instrumental role in helping make Villanova University the special place it is. Allison Venella serves as the Assistant Athletic Director of Student-Athlete Development. She began working in the Villanova Athletic Department in 2008. Since 2008, Allison has served in a variety of roles with Villanova Athletics. She is a member of senior staff leadership team for Villanova Athletics and secondary sport administrator for softball. In her current role, Venella is responsible for day-to-day management of the student-athlete development program and experience for Villanova's 600 Division I student athletes. She oversees student-athletes' community service, personal, career, and leadership development programming, as well as oversees the SAAC committee. Allison is a two-time graduate of Villanova University. She received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science in 2008 and a Master's in Arts in Education in September of 2013. Allison, welcome.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for joining us. So you've been at Villanova since 2008. Tell me a little bit about the different roles and responsibilities you've had over the last 12 years.
Sure. Well, I started right out of undergrad. So when I was an undergraduate student, I served as our softball manager, and I was really the liaison between the team and some different departments as an undergraduate student, and I've turned that into a career. So I started out in the equipment room, so doing a lot of the work with our teams with their gear that they receive and our laundry services and our equipment for our teams. And then I transitioned to student-athlete development, where I've been since the summer of 2009. And student-athlete development is really helping our student athletes. We have 600 Division I student athletes who compete across 24 programs, and really making sure that they have a first-class experience during their time on our campus.
Wow, so you went from the equipment room to your current role.
I did. I spent 1 year in equipment, and then I've spent the last 11, almost 11, doing student-athlete development.
That's incredible. So talk to me about the Villanova mentality. What does it mean to be a Wildcat athlete?
Yeah, so, our student athletes are world class. They compete at the highest levels of Division I athletics, competing to win NCAA championships. We have student athletes, trying to make Olympic trials, and they work hard all the time. So their mentality is to do well in the classroom. Our student athletes succeed at the highest level across the university in the classroom, and then compete in their sport at the highest level, compete to win both conference championships and NCAA championships, and also to be a part of our community. So not only our Villanova community on campus, but also a part of our Radnor Township, our community surrounding the university.
That's great. What exactly is the SAAC committee?
So it's called SAC. So we call it, it's SAAC. It stands for the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So every NCAA institution has a SAC committee. Divisions 1, 2, and 3. And so that committee is made up of a couple student athletes from each team at every university, and they're charged with being the liaisons between the student athlete body and the athletics administration. So they're really the athletics leaders amongst their teams, but also the liaisons communicating information, communicating events, service opportunities, but then also any pertinent issues happening at the NCAA, happening at the conference level, happening at the university that might make an impact on the student-athlete experience.
Okay, so talk to me about those issues. What would be pertinent to a student-athlete?
So we have, obviously at the NCAA level, there's many hot topic items, one of them being mental health, making sure that our student athletes have the opportunities to be successful in all areas of their student athlete experience, making sure that they're managing stress, making sure that they're managing their daily time demands, making sure they have enough time to be successful in the classroom, but also successful athlete as well. So those types of all aspects of mental health, sleep, nutrition, those are hot topic issues. Just making sure that they have opportunities to be well rested, to get enough hours of sleep every night, to make sure that Villanova and our university is providing them with well-balanced nutrition diet, both on campus and when they're traveling for their competitions as well.
So tell me, what's the day-to-day for a student athlete at Villanova Division I?
Oh, geez.
An overview.
Yeah, no, that's okay. The typical student athlete will team lift before class. So just say, they lift as a team from an hour lift session 3 days a week. So Monday, 7 to 8 a.m. team lift, probably go, shower, go straight to class, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 class, maybe have lunch, and then team practice in the afternoon. Some of our teams compete off campus in the surrounding communities, so baseball, field hockey, rowing. So they go off campus for practice. Everyone else practices on campus. A couple hour long team practice drills, maybe some film session, time with their coaches, planning for upcoming games. After practice, go straight to dinner. Maybe they have a night class at night, 6 to 7:15 or 6 to 8:50. Study hall, got to fit study hall hours in, especially for our freshmen. And then obviously time to study and prepare for the next day and go to sleep and wake up and do it all over again.
Wow. It's like a 16-hour day.
Yeah, it's a long day. It's a lot for our students to fit into their daily schedules, but we really try and provide them with all the resources that they need to be successful, whether it's help managing their schedule, tutors, mentors. Obviously, they have academic advisors both in athletics, and they have primary faculty advisors on campus who really help make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful academically. And then, in terms of athletics, they have an athletic trainer, they have a strength and conditioning coach, they have people who are really focused on making them, the best athletes that they can be.
Wow. So personal and professional development is crucial to the college athletic experience. And I know you teach a class on personal development or leadership?
I teach a leadership class on campus.
So what sort of themes do you touch on in that type of class?
So for us, for our student athletes, it really starts from the minute they get to campus. So we really want them to make a smooth transition into Villanova in terms of making positive decisions, being good members of our communities, representing us at the highest levels, both, on campus, off campus. So new student orientation, we spend a lot of time there talking about making sure, to make good decisions and to represent us well. So we talk a lot about drug and alcohol prevention. We do a lot of sexual violence prevention training. We do academic integrity, so making sure that they're making really good choices in the classroom, doing their own work, things of that nature. We do some leadership programming, so making sure that they have the opportunities to develop their leadership skills on campus. We talk a lot about being a servant leader, which is like the Augustinian mission of leading others first, and putting others in before yourself. So we do a lot of that. So really it starts freshman year with new student orientation. We meet with our freshmen a lot during freshman year and then provide that same programming throughout the 4 years. Now, in terms of the 4-year experience, we want it to be a smooth transition in, but then also making sure that our student athletes are well prepared for when they transition out with their diploma. They graduate in 4 years. Most of them have a very traditional 4-year experience, and making sure that they're prepared for what comes next. So resumes, opportunity to network, interviewing skills.
Wow.
We just launched a Villanova Athletics mentoring program, which is in partnership between Villanova Athletics and our Office of Academic Support for Athletics. So we have Villanova alumni mentors paired with our current student athletes, about 110 in this first cohort.
Wow, that's
so
great.
Just making sure that they have the skills that they need to flourish when they graduate as well.
So this isn't a one-time thing. They're starting freshman year all the way through senior year.
Yeah, and now we have opportunities for our alumni to be engaged as well, not only from a fundraising and being involved sort of standpoint, but giving back as a mentor, coming to events, really supporting our current student athletes as well.
Wow. So the Special Olympics Fall Festival for Pennsylvania is hosted and organized by Villanova students, and I believe it's the largest student-run event in the world for Special Olympics.
Yes,
That's
it is.
Incredible. 2018, I know, marked the 30th anniversary. Can you talk a little bit about the type of planning that goes into an event like that, having students organize and run that event, and what that means for Villanova to host that type of event on campus.
Sure. So Steve Koch, who's an assistant director in student involvement, he oversees all of that. So him and I work together, but he oversees a student committee of hundreds of Villanova students, and they start planning a year in advance for the next year. So planning is already underway for fall of 2020.
Because it's thousands of people,
It's about
right?
1,200 Special Olympians, and then all of their coaches, their families, their guests. It's about 3,000 people that come to campus for the weekend. It happens annually each November on campus. It's the largest student-run Special Olympics Fall Festival in the world, which you mentioned, and Villanova Athletics is thrilled to be a part of it. So obviously the planning happens by the university, by student involvement primarily, but our student athletes participate throughout the weekend as volunteers. And then the Special Olympians they compete in their competitions across all of our athletics venues. So they're in the Finneran Pavilion, they're at Higgins Soccer Complex, they're in Villanova Stadium, they're at some high schools in the area competing in their competitions, which is incredible to be a part of.
And so what type of games or sports are they playing?
Yeah, so I think there's 5, you can correct, 5 or 6. They compete in volleyball in the fall, soccer, a lot of soccer, bocce, long distance running and walking, and then I think there's roller skating off campus as well. So those are the primary sports that happen. And then to mark the 30th anniversary, which was in the fall of 2018, we were able to have our men's basketball team be a part of a unified basketball game with the Special Olympians. So basketball isn't a primary fall sport for Special Olympics. It's a winter sport for them, but we were able to host it as a part of the Special Olympics opening ceremonies, and we were able to do that in 2018 and 2019
that's so
to have a unified game, and then we've expanded that into a drills and skills competition, and males and female Special Olympians to be a part of that. So it's been really cool. Yeah, the Finneran Pavilion is packed. There's thousands of fans in the stands. A lot of our student athletes parade in the opening ceremonies for Special Olympics with the Special Olympians. So all of the counties parade in the opening ceremonies, and our student athletes walk in the parade with them.
Great. And was Radnor Police involved in that as well?
Yes, the Radnor Police brings their motorcycle group, and they used to in the old Finneran or the old pavilion, they were able to bring the motorcycles in. We can't do that anymore, but they come outside, and it's really nice for them to be a part of that ceremony.
Oh, that is nice. And with a women and men's basketball team, I'm
exactly,
sure that's very exciting for the athletes.
Well, our athletes love to be a part of it. They look forward to the event, and it's an hour out of their fall, but our student athletes particularly love being a part of Special Olympics.
Sure.
And that comes from their coaches, that comes from the student athletes. They value the work that the Special Olympians put in to prepare for their sports and to prepare for their fall festival. So our student athletes know the work that they put in, and they really look forward to being a part of it.
That is great. And is that the same as Buddy Walk, or is that another event that we host on campus?
That's another event that we host on campus. Our student athletes aren't as involved in that, but I know that draws thousands of local community members to Villanova Stadium for that event as well.
That's great. Okay, so speaking of 2018, Villanova marked 50 years of women in sports at Villanova. That's a huge, monumental, exciting thing. Can you talk a little bit about the history of female athletes and the celebration that occurred in 2018?
Sure. We have 13 women's programs, and we're really proud of those programs. We were able to celebrate, all year long in calendar year 2018, 50th anniversary. So our current female student athletes wore patches on their game uniforms to mark the celebration, which was huge. We had banners in all of our home competition venues. And we were able to not just celebrate with our current student athletes, but really get our alumni involved as well. Those were the pioneers for women's sports at Villanova. So we had 2 separate, very large signature events. One for our current student athletes. We had them for a fancy dinner in blue and white in the Finneran Pavilion. We had a dueling piano show come, and it was just for them and their head coaches. So it was a really beautiful event. It was in November of 2018. And then later that month, we hosted a 600-person event for the 50th anniversary. It was a gala. So we invited all of our former female student athletes, their families, friends of Villanova Athletics.
Wow.
Yeah, and Nena Lynch was the keynote for that. So Nena was a former Villanova women's track and field and cross country. She's a Rhodes Scholar. So we've had 3 female Rhodes Scholars at Villanova. All 3 have been female student athletes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been really amazing. So it was really great to have her back for that event.
And who are the other 2?
Jen Rhines and Jess Wamala.
Okay,
Yeah.
very nice. And I'm sure that means so much to our current student athletes.
Oh, they loved it. They absolutely, well, they just were so happy to be a part of the celebration and for the events, like they were thrilled to be a part of it. But also, you know, really proud to wear the 50th anniversary patch, to have all of the, you know, we had a t-shirt made for them all. We had a year-long social media campaign highlighting the 50 best moments in our women's sports athletics at Villanova. So just to be a part of that, it was really special to see all the women coming back to celebrate, to come to their games, you know, to celebrate together. It was really special to be a part of that.
So speaking of special, I know that you touched on a little, but the Villanova athletic experience, it's not just you're going to college to play sports. You're getting so much on the back end of that, and you're also giving so much. And I know our athletes do a lot of community service. So can you give us just a little overview of what our athletes do, not only locally in Radnor or Delaware County, but also in the greater Philadelphia area?
Sure. So, you know, in terms of community service, we're an Augustinian institution. So we pride ourselves, I mean, and that's Villanova University, but for athletics, we pride ourselves on being a part of our larger university service events, but then also we do some on our own as well. So our student athletes collectively do about 3,000 hours of community service each year, and we're really proud of that. And a lot of times I get asked the question, like, is that mandatory? And the answer is no. Like, they just come and they want to be a part of those events. So, you know, we do some really large university events like the Day of Service, 135 service sites in September, the Special Olympics Fall Festival, MLK Day of Service, which is coming right up. And then we do some internally as well. We have a great relationship with the Radnor Township School District. So specifically Dr. Doug Kent, who's the middle school vice principal, we started a partnership about 5 years ago. And so we go and visit their schools a couple times a semester and do leadership talks for the middle schoolers.
Oh, that's so great. So when you are talking to middle schoolers, you know, on a little bit of a different caliber than college students, what are they speaking about?
So usually we go on Fridays. So usually from about 9 to 11 a.m. They go in pairs or small groups, and they'll go classroom to classroom. And so they talk about really what it's like to be a Division I athlete, the schedule, the demands, you know, everything that you can think of in terms of the experience. And then the teachers will prompt a lot of questions. So they'll prompt like, how do you manage your time? What resources do you need to help manage your time? You know, what was some advice, or what would, if you were back in middle school, like what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, that's a great question.
We talk a lot about social media and like safe usage of social media. We talk about bullying and just, you know, generally speaking, being kind to people and what it's like being a part of a team with people from all different backgrounds and from all over the world competing on a team at Villanova. And just generally speaking, like what it's like in college, like what's it like living in a dorm, what's it like eating in the dining halls, like what are your classes like, things like that to help prepare the middle schoolers, not just for transition from middle school to high school, but then thinking high school to college as well.
That's great. And you said you go a few times a semester?
We do, yeah. To the middle school, we go a couple times a semester, usually 2 or 3, and that's set up, like that's a very routine visit. We also have now visited all 3 elementary schools in Radnor Township. So we'll go there and we're either invited by teachers or parents or the librarians, and we'll do more like reading opportunities in the classroom, so we'll be guest readers. We'll share our story too, but most of the time it's either Dr. Seuss Read Across America Day or another Wayne Elementary invited us as like a treat for some classes that raised the most money through the Box Tops fundraiser. So it's been awesome. Yeah, so we've been to all 3 elementary schools, and it's a treat for our student athletes to go and be guest readers. They love it. They absolutely love going to the schools.
I'm sure. And I know when I did some research on sort of what our athletes do, there's a ton of stuff across the greater Philadelphia area that we're involved with.
There is. So, it's ongoing. We do a lot at the holidays. We just came off that, but we do a lot. We host a couple toy drives at our home basketball games. Those toy drives support City Team in Chester, which is down by Talent Energy Stadium. We also support the North Lake Community Center, which is in Manayunk. So those are some opportunities through the toy drives, and our teams actually adopt children at the holidays.
Wow.
So they'll adopt children, and then we take some families as well. We provide those kids and families with Christmas gifts. And again, for both of those organizations that I just mentioned, City Team and North Lake Community Center.
Wow. That's incredible. So if any of our viewers are, at home right now thinking, I would love to be a Villanova athlete someday, what type of advice would you give them?
Geez. So I'll put on my student athlete hat. I wasn't a student athlete, but they'll say to really prioritize academics. So, that's the first big thing, is making sure that you have the grades to be recruited, to play sports in college. That's a big thing. And then also making sure that you're able to manage your own time. Our student athletes are living away from home. They live in the dorm. They're in charge of their own daily schedules. So making sure that, a student can manage their own schedule, all the demands being thrown at them, and really making sure they're on top of their schoolwork. Those are the two big things. I was preparing for Division I athletics.
And do you go to all the athletic
matches? I go to a lot. So yeah, I would say, it's not a part of my responsibility, but the students love seeing us, all our staff and coaches, supporting each other. So I do spend a lot of time going to sporting events. And, it's not just when you think, basketball, right?
Sure.
It's all the sports that we have. They're all competing really hard, and they're all competing to win championships. So they love having fans in the stands.
That's great. So outside of our basketball games, are most of our games on campus free to attend?
Yeah, so all of our home competition, especially right now for spring 2020, all of our home competitions are online. The only ticketed sports we have in the spring is men's cross. So, women's lacrosse, softball, baseball, all of the we'll be hosting Big East Track and Field at Villanova Stadium in May. So we have a ton of home competitions. Both tennises compete in the spring, as well as our golf program. So, we have a ton of home competitions, and they're all free and open to the public.
Great. All right. Well, Allison, this is wonderful. It sounds like you guys are doing some incredible things in the athletics program at Villanova.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'd like to thank Allison Venella for participating in today's show. We look forward to next month's show as we introduce you to other individuals making news and positively impacting the communities around us. For more information on some of the great things happening at Villanova and opportunities to be involved, please visit www.villanova.edu/neighbors.